Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the mechanic. That's the guy you can see on screen right now. And as always, I'm going to show you some gameplay in the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video we're going to take a look at the perks, the mutations, the equipment and everything else you need to know in order to recreate the character. Now this time we're doing a Rifleman character, and for those of you who saw yesterday's video, in terms of legendary effects we're utilizing pretty much the exact same stuff. Now we do use a instigating, that's hit chance, faster reload railway rifle this time around. The railway rifle, well, this is a weapon that's been covered quite a lot since the game came out, and especially recently there were a lot of YouTube videos made about it and everything, for the simple reason that an automatic version of this weapon is probably one of the most powerful things you can wield if you couple that with VATS. So it has some devastating damage going on. However, one thing you rarely see is this weapon being used as a rifleman weapon, meaning a semi-automatic. Now the reason is pretty simple. Now, just as I just told you, an automatic version is just absolutely devastating. However, it has some slight little drawbacks, mainly the small ammo size, so you only have 10 shots per magazine, and the ammo is quite heavy, so it's kind of hard to carry a lot even with bandolier. And last but not least, you do pretty much depend on VATS. The weapon just isn't really usable outside of VATS, which differs it a little bit. If you use it as a rifleman weapon, you can definitely get away with not using it in VATS. However, I still think it's definitely the better idea, and ultimately, yeah, you probably want to go for those headshots. I mean, it always depends. If you are one of these persons who has very good aim and you can get successfully get headshots all the time, yeah, you can definitely go for it. However, I just feel like going for a VATS approach was the better option here, especially since we do have the VATS hit chance effect. But yeah, let's see here. Another thing that's noteworthy about this weapon is what I was doing is I was using Ultrasight Ammo, so I primed the weapon. This is a benefit that you simply can't get when you're using an automatic version of this weapon. As far as I am aware, there's no primed receiver for automatic railway rifles, sadly. Otherwise that would probably be the go-to approach with these kind of things. These guys really don't react today, like they just watch me slaughter all of their friends, which at least gave me a chance to show off how the weapon performs outside of VATS. Now, back to the topic. The interesting thing is, we do have one rank of Mysterious Stranger. There he is. Just for flavor, because we had 1 point to burn in luck. Yeah, what did I just say? Well, when it comes to Ultrasight Ammo, I am kind of... most of the times I don't really like it, because I am not someone who regularly farms the Queen or anything, so I don't have access to a whole lot of flux. Now, on certain weapons, especially on energy weapons, I tend to still prime them, but what I do is I just hop some benders and get the necessary flux. You can really get a lot of ammo with relatively small amounts of flux, so therefore I often go for it on plasma rifles or on laser rifles. However, when it comes to the railway rifle, you're not getting a whole lot of spikes. Actually, you get like 40 spikes with 1 cobalt flux, which initially doesn't sound like it's all that beneficial. I mean, maybe you have like thousands of cobalt flux and then this wouldn't be a problem. However, the interesting part here is I actually just crafted one bunch, like 40 railway spikes, and ever since I never had to craft another amount, for the simple reason that I never had a weapon that was so efficient to farm ammo for in daily ops. Now what I did, as I said, I had like 40 ultrasight spikes, went to the daily ops. I think at the time it was resilient super mutants, which went down in 2 shots most of the times. 1 or 2 shots, depending on if I got a crit. And yeah, they tend to drop like 18 spikes, between 10 and 20 spikes anyways, and that made it so that within 10 minutes I had well over 1,000 spikes, and ever since, yeah, that's just what I did. Now, I'm not even going there just to farm the ammo, but I just did daily ops like you do them, trying to finish them with an Elder rank, which was definitely possible. And in the meantime, I usually had about 1,000 spikes, couple that in with the 200 or 300 you get at the end, and you're basically done. Like, you don't really need to ever craft ammo for this weapon, which is actually very nice. Like, you're not burning through a lot of these spikes, and having 100 of them, 1,000 of them, that keeps you going for a while. Just to keep track, we currently have 1,152, and I suspect that by the end of the video we may be down to like 900 or something, but probably we do still have even more. Now, other than with the black powder pistol we used yesterday, it's not like we're one-shotting every single enemy, so you could definitely go for something else. Junkies would be a nice thing. Bloodied, yet again, you're not a stealth character, so I'm not completely sure if Bloodied would be the best approach here. However, anti-armor would be nice. There's a lot you can do. Even Furious I could see kind of useful on this weapon, however, that's not the best approach. When it comes to the secondary effect, Vet's hit chance, very nice. Obviously, Explosive would be cool. You could even go for Vet's crits. And as the first effect, I think the faster reload here is really nice, since you do reload quite often, and the reload can take some time. However, it's not as necessary on this occasion. Like, you could definitely get something else. Faster VETS crits would be cool. Less VETS cost, I don't see all that useful, because honestly, I very rarely run out of VETS, even when fighting bosses. I just think that less VETS cost would kind of be overkill on this occasion. Now, here we can see, similar to yesterday's video, we can do some stealth attacks. We still have high agility, so we naturally are kind of sneaky, even though we're not invested into it. Oh, legendary on this occasion. Something you don't see every day. Alright. This guy just got me there. I'm kind of always surprised he is there, even though he's always there, so that's kind of on me. Oh, look, another black powder pistol. At least it has reduced weight, because I think I'm pretty close to being over encumbered, but yes. Then we're going to kill some ghouls over there. This weapon really shines when it comes to farming, like especially the White Spring area. It's an absolute ease. You just go through, and yeah, you even have the train noises, so it's really going well. Really efficient farming weapon. The condition holds forever nowadays. It's something that on the automatic version of the weapon, the condition is kind of lackluster. I haven't fooled around with it since the changes to condition went live, so it may be better now, but I can remember using one for a while as an automatic weapon, as a commando, and yeah, the condition was going down fairly quickly. On this occasion here, you saw that we went slightly out of range, so otherwise we could have taken down at least half of the glowing one's health, probably, but wasn't a problem anyways. Alright, there's a rat, another ghoul. As you can see, the moment you're facing stuff that can be one-shotted, it's very easy, very satisfying to use this thing. Yeah, exactly. But back to the topic, the condition nowadays, absolutely no problem anymore. Look, you can easily run this thing for ages. Now, I do have rank 4 of gunsmith, if I'm not wrong here. We're gonna check that later, but I'm pretty sure it's rank 4. And rank 4 of gunsmith, more than enough. I never had to repair this weapon ever since I started using this character. I played with it on and off for about 2 weeks now. Overall, I guess like maybe 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, just to make some slight adjustments here and there. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to use Bloody Mess or rather go for something else. Things like that, you know, just fine-tuning. But yeah, that's about it. Now, another noteworthy thing about this character is currently I'm using a full set of heavy robot armor, and actually, for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much non-legendary. I do have one legendary piece, which is the chest piece, but that's just a 1-star chameleon piece. So, since we're not sneaking, it's pretty much, for our purposes, it's pretty much non-legendary. So you can keep that in mind. Obviously, AP refresh, always a nice thing, however not necessary. The premise of this weapon is to just kill stuff very quickly, and overall we rarely get hits in anyways. Now, we do get some random shots here and there, and in situations where we get overwhelmed, it's obviously possible that some enemies can get a hit in, but yeah, you can basically do this with pretty much any armor that you have. Just go for something full health, vanguards or anything. You can even go for weightless if you just want to spare some weight. Now, pretty cruisy run so far of Hunter's Will. This definitely, we had worse times here. Feel like there should be another one, but, well, oh yeah, he went outside today. I like the choo-choo noise at the end. It's pretty much the best selling point for the weapon. Even when you look online, people just always, they never miss out on telling you that the weapon makes choo-choo when you reload, which is kind of cool. Choo-choo. You do have respectable range. I wouldn't use this thing over very high ranges simply because you need 2 to 3 shots or something, but on close to mid-range this is really devastating. And just a quick look, how far are we? Yeah, we burned through not even 100 railway spikes so far. And one thing to keep in mind is I didn't really bother. I think I did it once or twice, but you can fairly often retrieve the spikes from enemies, which I don't really bother with, since, as I said, it's so amazingly easy to farm the ammo in daily ops, so I never really bothered to. But if you want to do that, you can probably keep yourself going a bit longer. Now, this is something that happens with the railway spike. It's increasingly getting rarer, but it's definitely happens. Now it's gone. Somehow, yeah, the weapon still has the possibility to spike certain body parts to walls behind them or to surfaces. Something that worked quite well in Fallout 4. However, in this game, somehow it does spike the limbs to the surfaces, but for some reason doesn't really work out in terms of, yeah, actually dispatching the limb from the enemy. So yeah, it creates this weird little visual bug. Here you can see it again. Alright, it's gone. That's something, when the game released, this was going to stay there until the enemy went to be a goo pile or something. Now, maybe we can use a Stimpack here just to get back to full health, but yeah, not really necessary. You also have Gunfu, which can actually be very nice, especially if you're going for a lot of ghouls or something. You saw that a little bit at Fred's House of Fear, but it's just for flavor here. In terms of under armor, we could use something better for our needs. However, I went with the Marine Wetsuit, the shielded version, which gives us a bit of strength, endurance and perception. None of it's actually really necessary for us. However, it's a bit more survivability. Very little, by the way, but yeah, I just preferred the looks simply because it covers the hands and everything. I went for the long johns for a while, simply to get a little bit more agility. Which helps us with that, but I found it was really not necessary. I mean, if you watch the video, you can easily keep track of my AP meter and see that we never been in a state of having a problem with that. I'd argue that you probably can even use a non-legendary railway rifle. here pretty successfully. You gotta expect to do 2 shots on pretty much every enemy rather than 1-shotting every now and then. But yeah, the weapon is just fantastic. It's very cool. I love it. I'd still prefer it as a automatic, maybe simply because yeah, you can do stuff like that as well with an automatic, and it helps you a little bit when you're fighting bosses. However, getting these ultrasight spikes and a bit more of an initial impact can definitely be nice. Now, this was a very cruisy run, I'd say, and yeah, that was it in terms of gameplay. I think we have everything covered here. We fought robots, schools, super mutants, some rats, that is very important. We took down a scorched beast, some scorched. Yeah, I think we have it covered pretty much. Now let's look at him. And now let's get into the interesting stuff here. The weapon itself, here it is. Instigating, Vet's hit chance, faster reload, railway rifle. We're currently at 199 damage. Think we're still under the effect of, nope, no adrenal reaction here. So 199, this is what you can expect simply from the mutations and everything. But I do think we have adrenal reaction. Yeah, at full health, 176. Alright, we kind of aggroed these guys from back there. But they're gone now. Yes. Very lovely weapon. Really like it. The feel of it is very cool. Nothing to say about it. Now here we have it. Our dense chest piece with the chameleon effect, as I said. And the rest is deep pocketed stuff. Yet again, I didn't really feel like extra AP was necessary, so I didn't went for ultralight, but rather for the extra carry weight here. Where do they come from? Like, oh, alright, I'm not gonna say no to a legendary. Mutant Gladiator. Took some shots. I could have just waited in order to let him regain his health. That would have spared us some shots here, but yeah, wasn't really necessary. Well, that's everything to say about the armor. The only noteworthy thing is we do have the red wiper paint. I know it's not really fitting when it comes to the lore for the simple reason that it is this Chinese communist stuff. However, yeah, I just wanted to have this red look to make that look good with my, where is it? Here it is, the red rocket robot helmet. The chest piece is the only thing that has anything communist to it, so you could maybe just let that blank and go for a black approach, but well, that's not so important. Gotta say, I love heavy robot armor. The spikes on the back are really cool. I just love it. And well, let's get into our mutations. We do have adrenal reaction, bird bones, eagle eyes, egghead, marsupial, and speed demon. Egghead, a little bit extra intelligence, not necessary, so you don't have to go for that. Adrenal reaction, similar to that, not necessary. You could go for a bit more tankiness with more HP. However, we do run class freak, so the downsides are very minimalistic, and the more important stuff is bird bones, eagle eyes, marsupial, and speed demon. Alright, it's about to get a bit unnerving here. But as you can see, we can take a little hit, even though we're not extremely tanky, but yeah, that wasn't really a problem here. So, bird bones for extra agility, eagle eyes for extra perception and crit damage. We're always using that, so that's beneficial to us. Marsupial, jump height, and speed demon. Well, the reload speed actually very nice on this occasion. We double down on that with a little bit of ground pounder, as you will see relatively soon. But yeah, that's about it here. On to the perks. We do have rank 5 of strength with bandolier and blocker. Bandolier, pretty simple. On this occasion I wouldn't go without it for the simple reason that railway spikes, they are ballistic, so you need bandolier, and they are very heavy. Like if you want to carry like thousands of them, which I wouldn't recommend, simply because yeah, if you're down to like 100 or so, do one daily op and you're back to 1,000. So there's no real reason to bother with going for multiple thousand spikes. They're just weighing you down. Blocker, pretty simple, bit more resistances. Now if an enemy gets through and gets a hit in, just like it happened now with the mutant hound, yeah, blocker always a nice thing, and we did have the strength here. It comes from a legendary perk though, so if you don't want to bother with it, don't do it. It's not necessary. Perception 15, very high. We also boosted this with our Eagle Eyes mutations, so we really double down on hitting stuff. We have high perception and the Vet's hit chance effect, so we very rarely miss a headshot or weak spot shot, so for example the thruster. We do have all the Rifleman perks maxed out, combined with Tank Killer, pretty standard here. And then I went for 1 rank of Concentrated Fire as well as 2 ranks of Ground Pounder. Now, more Concentrated Fire wasn't really necessary in my opinion, since our goal is to one-shot most stuff or two-shot it, so we're not getting the best benefit out of the better VETS effect from higher ranks of Concentrated Fire. And if we would need that, we're out of range anyway, so that's not how we want to use the weapon. So you saw that with the Scorched Beast, we do have very high hit chance anyways, like even if it's a bit farther away we're down to 80% or something, and then we still have the Vet's hit chance effect. I'd rather went for rank 2 of Ground Pounder here, just to minimize the problem we have with reload. Now I can show that off in first person here. The reload is very fast with the faster reload effect and the Ground Pounder at rank 2. That's really no big concern here. We are relatively flimsy, we are down to 4 endurance with Life Giver, so we do have a little bit of extra health points, but our armor fairly okay. I think we are at 187. Let's just check that. Yeah, 187. We actually have relatively high red resistance, so that's not nice when fighting ghouls, but yeah, 187 in damage and energy resistance. It's fine. It's not the best. We're not yet at the point of diminishing returns, but I think it is okay. Now, in terms of charisma, we do have Tenderizer, so you see here we could definitely go for a more tanky approach with Lone Wanderer and anything. I just didn't feel like it was necessary. I'd rather have a bit more damage when it comes to follow-up shots, not for mobs or anything, but mostly for fighting Sheep Squatches, Scorched Beasts, Yao Guai, and that kind of stuff. On to intelligence, we are at rank 10. We do have First Aid rank 3, Nerd Rage rank 3, and 4 Gunsmith. Now, First Aid pretty simple. We do use Stimpaks every now and then, and might as well make them useful. Nerd Rage, you rarely see that on non-bloodied builds, so if you're not spending your time at under 20% health, this might not be all that beneficial. However, what's nice about it is if you are in a fight and get shot, Nerd Rage gives you a signature of when you want to use your Stimpak. Pretty simple, if you see Nerd Rage active, you do want to use a Stimpak, and what Nerd Rage also does is it gives you a bit of a safety net, so you get a visual confirmation of being at low health without looking at your HP bar, and also it makes you just a bit more tankier, so you have a bit more time to react. Not always when you are in a fight scene you can immediately take a Stimpak, since you do have an animation you need to go through, and having Nerd Rage here makes you just a bit more tanky, so you have a bit more time to react. So I do like it, even though we're not at low health most of the times, and we want to have some good intelligence going on anyways. What you can do, obviously, you could invest in something like Demo Expert or so, just to give you another use for other stuff, for explosive weapons and such. I pretty much explained why I went for Nerd Rage here. And rank 4 of Gunsmith, this is just what we have left in intelligence. Obviously, if you can boost it up to intelligence 11, use rank 5, use something completely different. Yet again, you could use Demo Expert here. There's options you have. You could also use batteries included, which I often do simply because even if I'm not using a energy weapon, I tend to carry a lot of energy rounds, so yeah. There's that. Now it gets more important again when it comes to agility. We do have Action Boy. As you see, we don't have Lone Wanderer, we don't have any AP refresh pieces, so a little bit of AP refresh going on is nice to have. Rank 3 of Action Boy in this occasion I found very useful. Marathoner, well, pretty simple. We wanna start off fights with pretty much the most AP we can get, and this assures us to just sprint into an enemy and then start fighting and not having to wait for a few seconds before we start the fight just to have some AP back. Gunfu at rank 3 here, we do want to have a lot of agility, so we do have a lot of points to spare. We're not using it for any damage stuff like we would on maybe a gunslinger. So Gunfu at rank 3, even though it's not always going to be important, especially when you're fighting super mutants or something, you can really feel the difference when it happens, and it's very satisfying if you kill multiple targets and definitely feel like you're getting stronger. Like, maybe it takes 2 to 3 shots to take down the first super mutant, but you can stay in VATS for a long time, and if you keep that Gunfu chain active, coupled with adrenaline and some criticals, yeah, you really come to a point where at the 3rd enemy, maybe the 4th, you will one-shot them reliably and even gain more motion, if that makes sense. Now, White Knight, on this occasion, it's something I rarely use. Maybe you would just want to use it in order to repair your stuff cheaper and go for higher adrenaline instead, but I went for it simply because we're not in stealth, we're always in the action, we do get hit every now and then, and having to repair your stuff is just tedious, so I went for White Knight here. And yeah, last but not least, adrenaline at rank 3. As I said, you could go down with White Knight, you don't necessarily need Marathoner if you maybe have AP refresh pieces and feel like you don't need Action Boy. There's a lot you can do in order to rather increase your adrenaline if you want to do that. You could also go with Dodgy. It's something I fiddled around a little bit when I was doing daily ops, however I didn't feel like it was necessary, so I just not went for it. However, with the changes to Dodgy, yeah, you don't need a lot of AP, so you could use Dodgy. I wouldn't recommend it still, but yeah, that's just my think of it. And on to luck, we do have Grim Reaper Sprint, Better Criticals, Mysterious Stranger, Class Freak, Storage Genes, and Critical Savvy. Now, Critical Savvy and Better Criticals, pretty standard approach if you want to stay in beds. Same with Grim Reaper Sprint. These 3 perks are very often seen on that-centered builds. Maximizing the output of criticals, pretty straightforward. Maximizing their damage, also pretty straightforward. I mean, we are in beds already, we might as well use our criticals as soon as we have them, so we might as well boost them. Grim Reaper Sprint, especially coupled with Gunfu, that's very cool because oftentimes, yeah, you don't run out of AP, you rather run out of sight, so you don't get a sight on the enemy and therefore have to stop using VATS rather than running out of AP. And last but not least, Class Freak. I fiddled around with it, wanted to use Bloody Mass for a while, wanted to use 4-Leaf Clover. I even thought about Quick Hands or Ricochet, like pretty much everything you see down there. The thing is, ultimately, I just thought a little bit more, a little bit less debuffs from our mutations is nice, to have a bit more strength and endurance. Another sensible thing would have been Tormentor, just so when you're fighting enemies like Scorch Beast or something, you can cripple them. However, I found that I just first and foremost, you do have the hit chance that you can take down Scorch Beasts while they are in the air. You don't have to make them land, as you saw earlier. And when it comes to things like Yao Guai or Deathclaws or something, you're just better off going for their head and trying to kill them off fast. It's not going to take that long. I mean, it could potentially be useful when you're fighting a lot of them. However, this is not a fast firing weapon, you gotta keep that in mind. It's not like when you're using a handmade and you have a lot of shots. 15% chance is not so high, so you have a good chance to kill your enemy off before you even get the effect of Torment at work. So that's that. And as I said, with Ricochet or Serendipity, yeah, we are relatively surprisingly tanky. It wasn't a problem, as you saw in the video, so that's what I ultimately went here. And having 1 luck left, you could go for Curator, 1 rank of Psychopath, or whatever you feel like. 1 rank of anything won't make the world's difference. So this is also from Legendary Luck, so you might as well just not use that. That's pretty simple. And speaking about Legendary Luck, these are all legendary perks. 1 legendary luck, I just told you about that. Legendary endurance at rank 2, so keep in mind, without that we'd be even flimsier. However, well, pretty simple. Legendary intelligence, just told you. A gunsmith definitely not necessary on this occasion. You can go for a long while without repairing, even without gunsmith. So gunsmith, leave that out, and maybe only rank 2 of nerd rage or something, or rank 2 of first aid. Legendary strength, this is basically blocker. And onto perception. Yeah, we could live without ground pounder, but pretty straightforward, increasing your special stats, nothing a lot to talk about. And follow through, I just didn't bother with removing it. We don't use it, obviously, we're not sneaking. However, there was nothing desperately necessary here. Taking one for the team could have been good, but we're a solo character, so we wouldn't make all that much use out of it. And then you have Sizzling Style or the Funky Dots perk, something like that, but I think you get the point. You could also just increase another stat. Pretty straightforward, there's nothing we desperately need here. And well, that's pretty much everything I have to tell you about the character. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a pretty straightforward approach. Like, the whole build is practically carried by the weapon. So it's basically as close to a food build as you get nowadays. You can go for everything, basically. The weapon is good enough to carry you. Even in stressful situations, you're rarely getting hit at all. Like, if it's really stressful, you still have the option to outmaneuver enemies. It's still a Bethesda game, jump on something and yeah, you're basically fine. You do have the range to fight from pretty much everywhere, and yeah, that makes the whole process a little bit simple. Easy to get mutations, easy to get ammunition and everything. One thing I could say is, if you are one of those people who says, I don't have a lot of flux and I'm not sure if I want to make this work or not, well, you can obviously use this without primed ammo. Did it for a while. It's not a whole lot of difference. I think it's about 30 damage that comes from the prime ammo, but it was like, what was it? 2 crimson flux, 2 violet flux, and 1 cobalt. That's everything I needed in order to make this character run for ages. As I said, I never run a weapon that was so efficiently in farming ammo at daily ops. Like, it's ridiculous. Within 8 to 10 minutes you get 1,000 shots. I missed to check, but I don't want to go out of the picture now. But you saw, like, before we attended the West Tech building, we were at like 1,080 shots. So we basically went through 150, maybe 200 railway spikes. So imagine having 1,000 easy. And you can also just not try to finish the daily op, but just go there, kill enemies, and you can farm up to 5,000 railway spikes within 15 minutes or something. It shouldn't be a problem at all. Just try it if you are not sure. Very easy. And well, that's basically everything I have to say about the character. I hope you enjoyed it, and well, see you next time, guys. Bye.